So, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Marco Rubio,
I, Marco Rubio,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
As far as the task ahead, President Trump was elected to keep promises, and he's going to keep those promises. And his primary promise when it comes to foreign policy is that the priority of the United States Department of State will be the United States. It will be furthering the national interest of this country. And he's given us a very clear mandate. President Trump's made it very clear, everything we do, and this is true in government, but especially at the Department of State, everything we do must be justified by the answer to one of three questions. Does it make us stronger? Does it make us safer? And does it make us more prosperous? If it doesn't do one of those three things, we will not do it. So that is the goal, and that is the task, and that is the promise that he was elected to keep, and that is the promise he will keep, and we will help him keep. It's a transformational moment.
We've been here before.
The leaders of Canada and Mexico said on Tuesday they were prepared to defend their interests amid an uncertain timeline on possible U.S. tariffs. President Donald Trump on Monday said he was thinking about imposing 25% duties on imports from the two countries on February 1st, well short of the swift day one tariffs he promised before taking office.
We're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada.
Instead, in a presidential trade memo, Trump essentially called for more research that could back future tariff actions. Trump's tariff threats on Canada and Mexico stem from what he says is illegal migration and fentanyl crossing into the U.S. Investors and foreign capitals had been bracing for action that could upend long-standing trade agreements. The reprieve prompted a rally in global stocks and sent other currencies higher against the dollar. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Tuesday said Trump's promised prosperity for America will require Canadian resources to fuel it.
We will stay steady on focusing on defending both Canadian interests, but also on defending the economic relationship between Canada and the U.S. itself.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said her government was already in bilateral talks with the new administration. Around 80% of Mexican exports go to the United States.
Regarding the decrees, because it's important to refer to the decrees signed yesterday by President Donald Trump, I would like to mention the following. First, the people of Mexico can be sure that we will always defend our sovereignty and our independence.
She also said her government will attend to the needs of migrants in a, quote, humanitarian way. Trump's memo directed federal agencies to investigate persistent U.S. trade deficits, unfair trade practices, and alleged currency manipulation by other countries. During his election campaign, Trump vowed to impose steep tariffs of 10 to 20% on global imports into the U.S. and 60% on goods from China. Such duties would tear up long-standing trade agreements, including the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, upend supply chains and raise costs, according to trade experts. The U.S. trade deficit now tops $1 trillion annually.
Thousands of Islamic State fighters are held inside this heavily fortified prison guarded by Kurdish forces in northeastern Syria. The Syrian Democratic Forces, a US-backed group that holds a quarter of the country, says such jails have been attacked twice by Islamic State in attempts to free the incarcerated militants since the fall of Bashar al-Assad. The jails have come into focus since Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, a former al-Qaeda affiliate, seized power from Assad and established a new government aiming to restore central authority. But the Kurdish forces guarding the prison say they're wary about handing control over to Syria's new rulers.
Our forces alone are responsible for protecting these prisons. Sharing them with the new government will not be acceptable. Protecting these prisons is the responsibility of the coalition and SDF only.
Reuters was granted rare access to the prison in the northeastern city of Hasaka at the weekend. The SDF says it is guarding some 10,000 Islamic State fighters in total. Here, many foreigners are among the inmates. Their faces have been obscured.
We're 6 years in prison now, and we don't know anything about our situation, about our wives and about our children, and about our mothers. We don't have any information about our side.
Foreign powers are at odds over who should run the jails. The outgoing US administration had indicated its support for the SDF to continue in its role. The SDF has served as the spearhead of US-led efforts to counter Islamic State in Syria for a decade. The Kurdish forces drove the jihadists from their headquarters in Raqqa in 2017 before capturing their last foothold, Baghouz, in 2019. But Turkey, which has friendly relations with Syria's new rulers, sees the country's dominant Kurdish factions as a national security threat. Ankara wants the prisons handed over. The Interior Ministry in Damascus did not immediately respond to a request for comment. However, HTS, formerly the Nusra Front, has a history of conflict with Islamic State and rejects the transnational jihad promoted by its supporters. The leader of HTS has pledged to build a Syria inclusive of different religious and ethnic minorities. But the SDF and the new administration are at odds over how the Kurdish-led force might be integrated into Syria's new security apparatus. The SDF also says jihadists are seeking to exploit lax security across Syria. The Kurdish officer at the prison noted images of fighters with the flag used by Islamic State on their uniforms among those who seized Damascus. And he said he doesn't believe the Kurdish-led authorities would hand the jails to the new administration.
A once-in-a-century winter storm is churning its way across the U.S. Gulf Coast, where snow flurries are rare. The National Weather Service said 31 million people were under a snowstorm warning on Tuesday, from southern Texas east through Georgia and north to the Carolinas and into Virginia. The warning is in effect until Wednesday morning. Temperatures dipped well below freezing across the South. With the storm moving east, snow-covered streets near downtown Houston were virtually deserted. Those willing to brave the freezing temperatures were enjoying the unusual change of scenery for now.
Yeah, the snow is beautiful. Look at this. Yeah, so soft and it's thicker than I expected. So I think it's great.
It's actually really fun having it here because it's kind of a throwback to my childhood and college days.
The Weather Service said 9.8 inches of snow had accumulated by late afternoon on Tuesday in New Orleans. The service was trying to confirm whether this broke an 8-inch record set in 1895. The storm's snarled air travel, with more than 1,000 flights departing or bound for Houston canceled, according to FlightAware.com. The storm was crawling its way through Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida late Monday. Much of the United States remains in a dangerous deep freeze.
Netflix just enjoyed a blockbuster quarter thanks to the return of hit shows like South Korean drama Squid Game. The streaming giant said Tuesday that subscriber numbers hit a record over the holiday period. They jumped by nearly 19 million to almost 302 million in total. That beat forecasts, as did figures for profit and sales. Live events also played a big part in the success. That included a fight between former boxing champion Mike Tyson and YouTuber Jake Paul. The bout pulled in some 65 million streams. Netflix also showed 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, with both among the most streamed competitions in the league's history. Now it's doubling down on live events, with plans to stream more WWE wrestling matches, and a deal to show the FIFA Women's World Cup soccer finals in 2027 and 2031. Investors reacted enthusiastically to Netflix's latest numbers. Its shares jumped about 13% in extended US trade, lifting its stock market value by almost $50 billion. The company has sought to capitalize on its popularity by raising prices in the US, Canada, and some other markets. Its cheapest ad-supported tier went up in price by $1 per month in the US. Analysts say the numbers are evidence that the company is dominating rivals. One told Reuters that Netflix was running away with the streaming market.